this is a recipe where you don't have to do any chopping, any preparation ahead of time. You basically just have to have the ingredients on hand and then pour them into this pot. So let's get started. Okay, here's all the ingredients that you're going to need for this recipe, and I have a few optional ingredients, but the main ingredients that you will need to prepare this tortilla soup are all over here, and the total cost for these was $11.29. So my goal is to make this a soup that can serve 6 people. So that would break down to about $1.87 per serving. So this would be what I would consider a dollar meal. So what you're going to need are a pack of corn tortillas. You're only going to use half of the pack in here, so you're not going to need all of the tortillas. You're going to need a jar of salsa. You're going to use just half of this salsa as well. This is one of the key ingredients. This is called Mirepoix. That's a French term for this mixture of carrots, onion, and celery. This is like the magic 3 vegetables that are in almost every single French soup and stock recipe. So I really like this product from Trader Joe's because this contains all the chopped mirepoix that you need for a soup, and all you have to do is open the container and dump it into your pot. You don't have to do any washing or chopping or preparation, which I know for some people can be very difficult, but also can be very time consuming and kind of an extra step in making soup. So this is one of my new favorite ingredients, is the Trader Joe's mirepoix. You're also going to need 2 cans of diced tomatoes. I just purchased the plain vine ripened, no salt added organic tomatoes, but they also have a fire roasted one, and then they have one that contains green chilies. So if you want a little bit of a different variety, you can opt for those ones, but for this recipe I just chose the plain, no salt added diced tomatoes. And then you're going to need a can of beans. I chose pinto beans, but you can also use black beans or kidney beans or any other type of bean that you have. This will be added after you puree the soup. Now, the optional ingredients for this recipe are olive oil. You don't have to use any oil when you saute those vegetables together, but if you want to add a little bit of fat to this dish, a little olive oil you can add in there. I would add about 1 to 2 tablespoons if you're going to do that. If not, just saute your vegetables in water. And there's 2 seasonings that kind of make this dish a little bit extra flavorful. One is bay leaves. If you have a jar of bay leaves, all you're going to need are 2 bay leaves for this recipe. So I did not include that in the cost, but if you have those, add them in. Make sure that you remove the bay leaves before you puree the sauce. These are not technically edible. You can choke on these, so don't eat the bay leaves, okay? And lastly, Trader Joe's has this really fun citrusy garlic seasoning. It's a Cuban style seasoning blend that contains garlic, citric acid, onion powder, salt, lime oil, lime juice, red pepper, bay leaves, coriander, cumin, black pepper, and lemon oil, and some other seasonings in here. So this is actually like a really pungent, intense flavor, but it's also, I think, would be a great addition. Normally you would put lime juice in a tortilla soup, so this would be a nice citric acidy flavor to add to the dish, but it's totally optional. If you have lemon or lime, you can also substitute about a tablespoon of lemon or lime juice. All right, let's add all this to our pot and get cooking. Okay, first you're going to turn on the heat on a large stock pot like this. I turned it to about medium-high heat. If you use the olive oil, you can add 2 tablespoons of olive oil right now. If you don't want to use the olive oil, just skip that step. I like to let that oil heat up a little bit. Then we're going to add in our vegetables. We're going to saute these for about 2 to 3 minutes and then add the rest of our ingredients. Okay, we're just gonna toss those vegetables around in the oil. We're gonna do what's called letting these vegetables sweat. So we're gonna saute these for 2 to 3 minutes so that they can release some of their flavors, maybe start to almost caramelize a little bit. And then we'll add our tomatoes, our corn tortillas, our salsa, and our seasonings, and our water. Okay, so it's been 3 minutes, and this is what the vegetables look like after sauteing. Next, we're going to add in 2 cans of tomatoes. One half of this jar of salsa. A teaspoon of the citrusy seasoning and 2 bay leaves. And then 6 corn tortillas that I've broken into smaller shreds like this. Now we stir it around. And then after that, we're going to add 6 cups of water and then simmer for about 20 minutes on medium heat. Okay, that's 4 cups. Okay, and then 2 more cups of water. And just stir it around and let it simmer for 20 minutes. And here's the soup after 15 minutes. We're just going to let it go another 5 minutes, and then we're going to let it cool slightly and then put it in the blender. You notice how the corn tortillas have basically dissolved in here? This is what's going to give the soup a nice, thick, and creamy taste and texture without adding any extra fat or any cream or anything like that. Okay, so our soup has simmered for 20 minutes. I'm just going to go through and remove the 2 bay leaves. So this is one of them. And let's see if we can find the other one really quickly. Oh, there it is. No, that's not it. Oh, but that is like a stem of a tomato. So you might want to not have that in your soup either. Here it is. Okay, so there's our 2 bay leaves. Now I'm just going to turn off the heat, let this cool for about 10 minutes, and then transfer it to my blender to blend into a creamy sauce. Okay, before I blend this, I just want to say that I just tasted the soup and it's really delicious. You don't even have to blend it. If you like a chunkier soup, this is really delicious like this. You can go ahead and add the pinto beans and then stir them in and serve this as is. But I'm going to puree it just to see what it looks like as well. Okay, I have my soup in the blender. I just want to say that before you start pureeing anything hot in a blender, you're always going to want to make sure that you put your lid on completely tight. Also, you want to have a little bit of air be able to escape because it's hot air and it's going to want to come out really fast. So what I like to do is take a clean dish towel and just place this over the top. That way, if anything splatters out of this, then it's going to get that towel. It's not going to get me or my face. So you always want to cover and protect your face, okay? And here's what the soup looks like after it's been pureed. I'm just going to return it to my stock pot. I did leave a little bit of the soup unpureed so that there was a little bit of extra texture. I'm just going to pour this back in here, and then I'm going to add the pinto beans, and then just bring this to a simmer again before I serve it. All right, and then there's our finished tortilla soup. This is definitely enough to serve 6 people, maybe even 7 or 8, but if you want 6 hearty servings, this is definitely a good amount of soup. So next I'm just going to plate it and show you what I would look like with some garnish on top. Now here's what the final tortilla soup looks like in a serving dish. I did have some shredded cabbage available and some diced onions, so I am just going to garnish this on top with a little bit of the cabbage. This will give it a nice crunch. The onions will just give it like a nice extra crunchy flavor as well. And then I had some leftover tortilla chip crumbs. These are perfect for garnish. So just add some of those on top. And there's a delicious meal. Without those garnishes on top, this was less than $2. It was about $1.87 per serving. So I hope you were inspired to make some delicious, cheap, and easy plant-based soups. And I look forward to seeing you next time. I hope you subscribe and are enjoying the content I'm sharing. All right, thanks. Have a great day. I'm going to go enjoy this soup now. Oh, I'm so excited about this. I haven't had tortilla soup in so long. It's still pretty hot, but I'm so hungry. I'm just going to eat this. So good. Bye, everyone.